emotional story that ties me to that recipe, whatever it is. So a lot of thought went into this. I had a lot of help. Highest performing book is to 90%, and we're finishing executing at the very last minute. So the client, the customers, the audience, the guests get the best. Think of for all these items, we've cooked them to 90%, and we're finishing executing.
So I'm here with Chef Devan. Recently, the first time I met Devan is with Alex, and Alex Powers, as you know, would have his program on social media and be highlighting Guyana. He's one of Guyana's influencers, and he introduced me to Devan, and I found the conversation interesting. It took me on a new part of what I want to cover, because normally I'm on crime scenes and all that kind of things, but I think in light of where the critic has, how far I've come, I think I owe it to really showcase Guyanese,
Yes.
and put it out there, right? So we're going to be having a discussion with Devan, going in the kitchen with Devan, and this exposure is basically to get a better understanding who Devan is, what he's about, what he aspired to be, and all in all, capture Devan, the chef, the Guyanese chef, by the way.
And Devan has no answers to any of those questions, so it's going to be a fun episode.
No, well, yeah, I know. I don't give nobody no questions, and I don't know. I just tell Alex, I say, here, I just asking about Devan. We got a number Devan. How did Devan become a chef?
Well, to be honest with you, I grew up obsessed with the sights, sounds, aromatics in the kitchen. So as a little kid, my mom scraping a pot, or my grandmother banging a pot, or slicing, or the sizzling, searing, steaming, I was always drawn to those noises. So growing up as a kid, I spent a lot of time in the kitchen. My mom had to wash very few wares because I'm licking all these dishes clean, right? So always obsessed with food. And as I got older, maybe in my teens, I started to see that impact that food had on me and the impact it had on other people when they eat it. It's like when you take a bite of something or a sip of something and the eyes roll back in your head and you're kind of taken away from that moment you're taking away from that place in that moment, and you're kind of transported to a place where you don't think about your problems or your worries. And I wanted to recreate that feeling for people. Growing up, my dad really wanted me to go into business like him, or be a doctor, or be an engineer, or be a lawyer. I thought that was a Guyanese thing, but then I found out it's a world thing. Most cultures are like that with their parents and their kids. And I ended up going to culinary school at 24. So I was bouncing around universities, bouncing around business programs. Nothing was really sticking. And when I went to culinary school in 2009, I'm 41 now, just about 41, everything changed for me, because it was the first time in my life that I was so excited to wake up and go to school. I had never had that feeling for stats or accounting, or economics or anything like that. There were parts of business program that I liked, but I was always obsessed with food. I was always studying food. So when I went to culinary school, everything changed. And then I just worked my ass off to get to where I am today.
Is it a bit of the fact, going to culinary school, did you become aware that you were part of a great art? Did you become aware of that?
No.
That this is like...
No. Maybe now I feel that way more, but back then, 15, 16 years ago, I was just getting over, or I was just starting to get comfortable with this feeling of, man, I'm actually following my passion. I didn't really think I'd be where I am today, and I didn't know what the future looked like back then. I had no idea. I faked it till I made it. I still feel like I'm faking it till I make it. That's the honest truth, man. So I just worked really hard and tried to differentiate myself and stand out. But I didn't know I was building something great.
You were telling me about these experiences, about the pots knocking and everything else. Where did this happen?
You mean where did I experience that?
Yeah.
That was at home. And
Where was home? Where was home?
Oh yeah, great idea to let people know. I was raised in Richmond Hill, not Queens, but Richmond Hill, Ontario. So just about 45 minutes north of Toronto. I was born and raised in Richmond Hill. My grandmother came from Guyana when I was a kid, and I spent a lot of time with her, mostly because I behaved real bad.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time with Ma. And that's where I learned so much about grating coconut choka on the floor with the lorha and sill. That's where I learned about adding pepper sauce to English muffins with cheese. My favorite snack to this day. 3 ingredients. And that's where I learned about gilbaka curry and chicken curry, and that's how I learned to cuss.
Interesting. Now, you Canadian Guyanese, you've been brought up in one of the greatest countries in the world. Why are you here today?
I feel like we could spend the whole episode talking about that. I was having a difficult time. I've always been close to my culture. I've always been close to family gatherings, the food, the way we pronounce things, the history, and for me, the link to South Asia. I was always really interested in it, and I was always proud to be Guyanese. But if we start talking about my career, I've been cooking 15, 16 years, right? About 6, 7 years ago, I really felt like I was lacking an identity. I grew up in Toronto, which is a melting pot of cultures. Any day of the week, we can go eat Ethiopian, regional Vietnamese, regional Italian. And I was cooking all these different things, you know, I'm French trained, classically French trained, but I was missing an identity. There was nothing for me to call home. So although I've been coming to Guyana a lot over the years since I was a kid, when I finally made the decision to really stand up for my culture, be an ambassador to West Indian food, Caribbean food, Guyana, I found this lane of showcasing and modernizing East and West Indian cuisine. And the beautiful thing about it, and I think I've made a big name for myself doing that. I worked really hard at it and I'll continue to grow. But I think the big thing for me is I finally felt like I had a home, man. And now when I'm back, I feel more connected than ever because I feel like I represent this nation and I represent this culture. And I can't wait to get back here. So it's really a part of my journey. I'm just really happy I have something to call my own. Like you can't tell me anything about West Indian food, Caribbean food, even South Asian food to a certain extent because it's me. It's not like I'm trying to make a fancy Greek dish or make a fancy Portuguese dish, which I do. But you know, like I can now get back to this home base of showcasing, modernizing East and West Indian cuisine, which is the cookbook that I released, Mad Love. It's a great representation of that because that's what that whole book's about.
So, I'm no culinary expert. Being the lead critic in the country, you'd expect I'd have a bit of a culinary background and understanding at least. No. But if we're going to just drop back a little bit and get down to a layman perspective of, I know you're aware of the Trinidadian argument, curry chicken and chicken curry.
Without question. I encourage it.
What's your perspective?
I encourage it, and I was just in Trinidad a couple weeks ago. I was just there a month and a half ago. I go very often. I have a Trinidadian chef with me from New York right now in the kitchen, so
let me give you a joke.
Yeah.
I am always in the argument just from the inciting perspective. Because I start the argument, I meet Trinidadian people and I start the argument, but I don't know which side I'm arguing from because I could never remember whether we are arguing for chicken curry or curry chicken.
The dish comes from India. And the British invented it. Let's give a little bit of backstory. When we're talking about a curry, what is a curry? You know, like someone from around the world can say, I love chicken curry. To me, that doesn't really mean anything because there's an infinite amount of curry preparations. Curry is a masala blend or a spice blend with a gravy. That's all curry represents. So whether you're using paprika, cumin, ginger powder, and water, that could be a curry sauce. It's not what we do, but that's what a curry is. Now, curry comes from India. In India, they say chicken curry, right? And the reason why curry was even invented was because in India you have korma, saag paneer, rogan josh. You have all specific names, murg makhni, butter chicken. You have all these specific names for your dishes, but the British really did this chicken curry, beef curry thing, right? So that's the first thing. Comes from India, that's how it's said. Now, how are we using the word curry? Is it a verb or is it a noun? Because if you're saying curry chicken, the only thing wrong with that is you need to say curried chicken. And any Trinidadian, Jamaican that you tell this to, they'd be like, yeah, we know that, but we just say curry chicken. I don't have a problem really with this thing, but I think it's amazing how riled up people get and the wars that happen in the comments online. So I'm always gonna say chicken curry, right? But then you have the thing is like, you chicken the soup or you soup the chicken? Like we've gone through a lot of these different arguments. But at the end of the day, like if you're gonna say curry duck, curry fish, curry mango, you really should get that IED in there for it to be proper. So you're using it as a verb or a noun, you know? And as a verb, it would be curried, you know?
So Devan, with no background, I recently started a program with no culinary background. And there's literally no culinary background, no experience. I started Critic in the Kitchen.
Okay.
And it's been fairly successful. Lots of crazy stuff I'm creating in the kitchen. From what I see.
Right.
No new creations. I could only imagine being a chef, you are creating new things and things that you own and name right? Um, Tell me about your book and how your book could help someone. Obviously, your book gives an in-depth understanding or to some extent educate people about cooking. This is the cookbook we're talking about.
This is. If at any point during this segment you want me to run to my room and collect one so visually we can see, I can do that. But in the meantime, my cookbook was created with the intention of bringing people around the dinner table.
Stop. We had to cut there just now to make sure Devan had his book. We can't be talking about someone's book. And, you know, so this made, just seeing this book makes me remember textbooks from school. So right away, I pull back. But I'm going to be reading this book in its entirety. You guys know I got Critic in the Kitchen. I'm hoping we can bring Devan in Critic's Kitchen one of these days. So the book is Mad Love. Big flavors made to share from South Asia to the West Indies. Basically the world, or most of the world that is about food and surrounding food that brings people's culture and development in culture. So we got the book. Tell us about the book, Devan.
Man, like I don't even know where to start.
Anywhere.
Yeah, very exciting project. One question I always get asked is how long did it take to write? I did it in about a year and a half. It was originally going to come out in fall of last year. That's 2024. We got it out in time for Mother's Day. I have a very huge demographic, which is just that, because of all the television I've done. I did 10 years on Cityline, which is a colossal show in Toronto. So 10 years I was on that show. I built a big audience with that. But this book, especially in the introduction, tells a lot of my story growing up as a kid. A lot of the things that we talked about just a few minutes ago is in there. And it tells the story of a young boy falling in love with food and ultimately making it his career and going back into time to dig up and really retrace these experiences that he had, like cooking on the floor with his grandmother. And a lot of these stories in here are about what turned me into a chef and what made me choose this career path. I mean, talking about the food that's in there, I told you showcasing and modernizing East and West Indian cuisine. We got pepper shrimp here, pepper pot, flatbread, homemade. I have biryani, South Asian, masala style street corn, South Asian jalebi, which goes in both. So that's a representation of what you can find in the book. The recipes are very accessible. There's a couple technical recipes like the smoked goat biryani, but a lot of the recipes are easy for a home cook to approach. It's written very methodically. For example, all the ingredients in the book are written in the way that you use them. So as you're cooking, if you have a dozen ingredients, because I cook with a lot of spices,
that's gonna help me.
then that way you know what goes in what order. So if you're starting with oil, you know, tablespoon grapeseed oil. A lot of the recipes will start with oil for that reason, depending on what you're doing. Head notes on everything. The photos are beautiful. I know you recognize that. So my mom made me fall in love with that. And then of course, pepper shrimp, Kerala fish curry. I've traveled extensively across India. So these are flavors that I absolutely love. And we've attached to basically every recipe a very meaty, substance-driven head note. So you're not gonna read like jerk marinade, great for barbecue, make it for Super Bowl. You're not gonna get that. You're gonna get a really emotional story that ties me to that recipe, whatever it is. So a lot of thought went into this. I had a lot of help. Highest performing book this publisher has ever released in the history of the company. Whole hot sauce section on fermenting hot sauce, and there's just really beautiful recipes. Mango lassi, peanut punch. It's really exciting.
So guys, I thought we could have, and you gotta be fair in context, I thought we could have gone through this. This is a huge book, and this has a lot of recipes. You guys have to go and get this book. What I am gonna do, I'm gonna be taking recipes out of this book. We're gonna be cooking from this book, Critic's Kitchen, at least for the next year. I'm averaging, we do one episode a week, so 52 episodes. How much menus you got in here?
Over 100.
So we got for about 2 years, right? So no need, you will know. What I'm not gonna be doing is revealing secrets. So you gotta get Chef Devan's book, and you know, whether you're a housewife or you're a husband, want to
Upcoming chef, anything like that. You know?
Yeah, right? So there's a lot that we can work on. Hey buddy, cool. Right? You gotta get this book. And in this series, I'll be putting up where you can get this book. Tell us, where can they go and get?
So if you're outside of Canada, it's on Amazon. In Canada, it's in a lot of bookstores. It's in bookstores across the US as well. You can always message me. My team will get back to you and let you know exactly which bookstore you can go
No
to.
bookstores here?
Yes.
Awesome.
So Matai's.
Matthias.
Happyhome.gy will ship virtually to anywhere in Guyana. They have stock.
Okay.
And it's also at Matai. So, I mean, they're obviously very connected. Babe Cave has some copies as well.
Okay.
And there's someone else out here with copies. It's slipping my mind right now. But yeah, happyhome.gy is your best bet to collect a book in Guyana. In Canada, chefdev.ca. I'll personally sign them and ship them to you only within Canada. We're not shipping to the US.
Cool. So guys, I got mine.
That's your gift.
Signed, signed and sealed. And I could tell you right away because we normally have a bit of confusion, myself and the wife, as to what we're going to cook and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to start this book from start to finish, and you got the menus, and as you said, it's simplified there,
Yep.
what goes in when.
And my biggest influences are in here. So my mother has recipes in here, Mom's Dal. My mom has a really cool part of this book I want to show you very quickly while we're talking about it. So there's Mom's Dal.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Mom's Dal is it's my grandmother's recipe. It's my mom's recipe.
Okay.
So my grandmother, bless her, both of them are not here anymore, but sugar roti and stuff like that. Their legacy is being passed on. And you have people making roti in like Malaysia and Germany because of this, which is crazy. But check this out, step-by-step Mom's roti. So your roti gotta be your own, right? There's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool book. We put a lot of thought into it. I think you also maybe want me to talk about Mad Love for a second,
Tell me about
because
it.
I feel like that's a question you'd ask.
Yeah.
My Instagram following blew up after 4 months of travel. I travel year-round cooking around the world, which I'm doing right now here. But I came home and I started posting to Instagram, doing cooking videos, teaching people how to cook. March 20th, 2020. And I organically started signing off my videos with Mad Love. I talk with a lot of slang. So I'll say I'm mad hungry, mad tired. You know, I talk with a lot of slang like that. So the world needs more love, and I have a lot of love to give. And Mad Love just made sense. It's also the one ingredient in the ingredient deck that I can't do for you. If you're making my curried shakshuka, for example, and you're not cooking with the passion and the intention of either you or a loved one eating it, and
You're
you
not
want it
gonna
to
get it right.
it's not going to be the same. To this day, I can mimic, my mom can be cooking here and I can be cooking here, right? And I can follow everything that she does, but hers is going to come out just a hair better because of the unconditional love that she's cooking with, because she's cooking for her son. You know, so I can't teach you to do this. You have to do that on your own, right? So Mad Love, it's got a lot of meetings.
Mad love. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, bro.
So guys, let's get a sneak peek of Devan in the kitchen. And again, this episode is about Devan, getting to understand Devan, what Devan is about, what Devan's book is about. And, you know, I think it's important in light of all that's going on in the world for us to be more caring, more feeling, because if you look at everything, especially the things that I do, it's more mechanical, it's robust. And after meeting you and talking to you and Alex, you sent me a voice note. It's so emotional for me. Because,
Yeah.
I have never experienced that. I'm not that kind of guy. So when you send the voice note to me, I was like, is this guy sure? You spoke about how I asked the questions, but I was just in a mood. I was in a nice mood, and I thought meeting someone the first time and talking to Alex also for the first time should be interesting. And we're gonna put a piece of that discussion in this. That's gonna be interesting.
People refer to me as Chef Dev, Devan Rajkumar, born to...
I've heard the name.
You've heard the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I travel the world cooking. I have a brand new cookbook out called Mad Love, and I want to inspire people to learn recipes, learn about their heritage, and fill the table with loved ones. Very important to me.
And what do you think about riding the bull? Would you try riding the bull, or are you just interested in cooking bulls?
Alex was supposed to ride a bull, and I was supposed to film. But with the appropriate amount of training, I'd give it a go.
2023, I recorded this whole event live. Then cut out the live and went and rode the bull. I lasted, it's 8 seconds to win.
That's impressive.
No,
And when you send the voice note to me, I was like, whoa. So I think people like the nice side of me.
I think so.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I can be brutal.
Right.
I am ruthless, not like extremely ruthless. There are few people that will be willing to sit down and do an interview with me because they don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
Right? But I was in the rain, about to ride the bull, you know, and you guys thing, and we were in conversation, and I was thinking, wow, this guy is interesting. What he does is interesting, and I've been looking at what Alex has been doing. And I say, you know, sometimes maybe my purpose now is to showcase what other people have been doing instead of going to the front. Because I stopped my morning program for about 2 months now. And still on social media in Guyana, I'm number one. I just recently went to a scene where a young lady was missing. I did it.
Right.
The video just exploded, right? Just because I've come back for a few seconds. But I think this is the first interview of this kind that I'm going to be more people-centric and interested in, you know, people's stories, and it's very, your story is very interesting. Guys, let's go to the kitchen and just get a sneak peek of the kitchen.
Let's go check out the food coloring we're using.
And we're at Grand Coastal, right? Just for your information, we're Grand Coastal. I've never been into an international kitchen, and I walked in first, and I'm thinking, is there anything that we can't cover with the camera? But when you're dealing with places that are catering and of international standards, everything is kosher.
I think it's also important that we mention the event that I came down here for. The gentleman, or the client rather, we're blocking the way. The client is actually very close to Grand Coastal. I've stayed here a lot in the past. I've cooked here. I've had specials on the menu. I'm very close with the chef and the team. So this was a huge advantage for me because, you know, I've cooked in Portugal, Mexico, Pakistan. I don't always have the best support, but this makes a big difference. So that's why I'm at Grand Coastal. They're offering support for this 200-person event.
Cool.
This is where service is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that's coming off of this line. Obviously, for my event, we're doing 10 appetizers from around the world. 8 we have past canopy style. 2 are live stations. We have a Mexico City taco station with the flat top. Everything's vegetarian, by the way. And we also have a really authentic pad thai station. And everything else is really things that you can't find in Guyana. So with 10 items on the menu, you ain't gonna find baigani, palauri, aloo bal. There's none of that. Client didn't want it, and he wanted things that you could not get in Guyana. So needless to say, guests are gonna be taken around the world tonight. Wow. Something different.
Cool.
So we come to the back. Our cooking space is back here, so we're out of everyone's way. So we have our team here. Chef Fabio. What do we eat, man? No, he's scared. He's scared. He's eating right now. Yeah. Can we pause the music for a second? Yeah, we'll put it right back. Thank you. Thanks, Roche. So here we are in the back kitchen. We've done a lot of work. We've been cooking since Thursday morning. It's now Saturday afternoon for anybody who doesn't know the time. We're leaving for the event soon, so the bulk of what we've done has already been done. This catering game, because you said that you're not as savvy with cooking in kitchen. So the catering game is a mise en place game. Mise en place is French for things in their place. And what that means is we need to have all of our mise en place done. I'm not going there and making saffron arancini or deep fried risotto rice balls with all the condiments on the spot. We have to do it ahead of time, and we're finishing. So think of, for all these items, we've cooked them to 90%, and we're finishing, executing at the very last minute. So the client, the customers, the audience, the guests get the best possible, freshest product. This is a pretty cool appetizer. So we have mushroom, miso, maple syrup, and tofu wontons. So very earthy, very savory, very flavorful. We have something called chili crisp, which is an Asian condiment of crunchy, spicy, oily, Asian-style chili. We turn that into an aioli. So you have your deep fried wonton with the mushroom, maple, miso, tofu, and then we're gonna squeeze bottle and garnish really pretty this past appetizer that'll be passed around. That's one of the 10 things that we're doing. Here's Chef Fabio from Peru, mi hermano. And he's the head chef here at Grand Coastal.
Hello, Fabio.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry for my English.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, sure.
He always says that, then speaks perfect English.
No, yeah, but I feel bad, you know?
No, that's perfect.
So we are everything ready. So we need put everything in the boxes, make the checklist, and
Listo.
we need to enjoy the moment.
Listo. I think it's also worth mentioning, I say this all the time, this guy's amazing, his team's amazing. So they make my life really easy. He's very organized. We have checklists for everything. We've been discussing it for the past 3 days straight. I'm only good as my team. man. So this guy's incredible, Chef Fabio.
I would think anybody that's working with a team. You're only good as the team.
Yeah, that's it, man. Really, really strong team. No one says anything.
I can tell you, you are an Einstein of what you're about, because you're coming with what this is, how it's done, how it's marinated, and everything else. I've looked at quite a few cooking shows, and you know, not everybody's as on point as you are. So I find it interesting. It's a little fast for me. I think I look back at the footage and think, yo, what does the guy said? What did he mean by this and so on? But I know who's going to be seeing this outside.
Right.
Who has a culinary background is going to be interested and amazed. And you say you were on 10 years in Canada. And
extensive media. Yeah. Alex knows a lot about that.
So this is just a reminder of what you've done, you know, and who you are and how you've become. So tell me about this the wonton again.
Yeah, so it's a little dirty over here right now. And if they knew that we were coming, I'm sure, but you've done what, 200 already?
It's okay.
220, so 220 pieces have already been formed. We're looking to get 175 of everything, but we're using a wonton wrapper, where we're using a circular wonton wrapper. We food process all of our mixed mushrooms, and then we have to sweat them. Why? Mushrooms are like well over 90% water. So if we don't saute them and then we deep fry them, it's going to leach out so much water. So we cook them in a pan with seasonings until it's almost dry. And then we press the tofu to get as much water out. We put in our beautiful miso paste, which is salty, savory, fermented, a little bit of funk, maple syrup, because I'm Canadian, and it's damn delicious. And we build together this beautiful mix. So you see the tofu speckled through it. You see that deep, dark, earthy mushroom. And then we're folding the wontons over and then connecting the two edges, all with egg wash to make it stick. And then we have that chili crisp aioli.
What's this about?
This is actually going to be for Grand Coastal. They slammed this.
They bake their own stuff.
Yeah. I was filming it this morning. They slammed this thing with so much butter, cheese, and garlic. It's unbelievable. And it's like 100 calories, so. I had one. Remember, Chef, we were filming last year, and I tested a lot of the menu items, and I ate like half of it, and then I fell asleep.
Or 2,000.
It's like 20. Actually, I can't say. I can't say.
The calories? Not 2,000.
You know what we can do though?
No.
I want to show you
One
some
meal?
more stuff. You want to come into the walk-in with me?
Cool.
Any
No
excuse to get in the cold, I take it.
Cool.
So let's take a look out here. This is Chef Picky from New York,
Hey, buddy. Nice to
from
meet you.
Trinidad, living in New York, working real hard, as you can see.
Okay.
No, he's chatting with his boy, right? Let's take a look in here. It might be a bit loud, but I think it's interesting for you. So we have designated fridge space in here.
Wow.
A lot of our mise en place is going to be in here. So a lot of the stuff that we're using, our scallion wisps, our pad thai ingredients, everything is labeled Chef Devan. Everything has to have a date, and you cut the sides of the tape because we're finessing over here. So a lot of the things that we're doing are vac sealed off, and we have everything organized. All these containers.
So just for the viewers, vac seal is vacuum sealed in there.
We do that to maintain freshness and also for transporting as well. It makes our life very easy.
I've been in food manufacturing, so when it comes to this aspect, I'm
okay. So you know
process.
that looks like metangi. It's not on my menu, but it's on the back of my cookbook, and you'll find a really fun recipe in there. You got to check this one out, though, critic. You're talking about like, you called me Einstein, and I feel like I'm like 5% of where I want to be because I'm constantly learning every single day, right? So I feel like I'm nothing anywhere near that, but I'm very proud of this dish. This is Greek phyllo pastry, which is very paper thin. And when we butter it and bake it, it puffs up and it gets really crispy, crackly, and crunchy. Greek spanakopita is a spinach filling with feta. Palak paneer or saag paneer is a spinach and paneer curry or stew from South Asia. So I love both so much. So I'm thinking spanakopita has spinach and cheese, saag paneer. Why don't I make that Indian curry stew, reduce it down a bit, and then add dill and feta, and then cool it down and fold it in the phyllo. And then we have palak paneer spanakopita, page 7475 in my cookbook. So it's a really cool fusion. It represents me growing up.
So this is in the cookbook?
This is page 7475.
Wow.
It's probably the only major component that's from the cookbook. But this is a good example of me growing up in Toronto, me traveling the world, and me bringing two different cultures together. So I just hope that people are a little bit open-minded to it, but it's a banger recipe, and it gets a roasted red pepper chimichurri, microgreens, which is going to be delicious. Very luxurious thing. You take something that's so, I don't want to say peasant food, but something that's so nostalgic and something that's kind of easy. but we make a really intense cheese sauce. And then you pair it with something luxurious. It's like fried chicken and caviar, which is a trending thing right now. You take something so approachable and something so fast foodish and gluttony, and you pair it with something super rich and status driven. So that's kind of the play of black truffle mac and cheese. So we've gone over a few items of the 10 that we're doing tonight.
So guys, for quality control, this is a cold room. This is very cold. I need to get out of here. I'm just holding up to listen to Chef Devan. But even the peppers here at Grand Coastal, the watermelons, everything is in a cold room to ensure quality control. What's your step, Robbie? Nice, buddy. Nice.
Yeah, so that's just to give you a little bit more eyes on the work that we've done to date. Because you walk in there, it doesn't look too busy. But yeah, that's the gist of it. We're loading out now to get to our event. We start cooking at 9. You know, these guys came in at 8 a.m. We're finished around 3 a.m. That's another thing we should talk about, man, is like, I post Instagram stories, and I'm always having a lot of fun, and I love engaging with staff, and I think I'm very easy to work with. But this cooking life, man, is not for everybody. And anybody at home watching this and they're like, man, I know Chef Dev, or I really want to be a cook when I grow up. Be prepared, because if you want to stand out and make it in this game, you have to bust your ass, and you have to work harder than you ever have worked before, and continue to do that to remain consistent and learn. Like, this is tough, man. The physical and mental strain of cooking, all the things you have to remember. You're on your feet all day, carrying pots, going back and forth, bending over. It's a lot of strain on the body. So you have to be healthy. You have to really want it, be very passionate about it, and work real hard at it, man.
I think more than anything else, from what I'm seeing, just walking through here, just talking to you, I think more than anything else is mental. How has that been on you?
I mean, it's more rewarding and it's easier now than it's ever been, because I'm approaching 4 years sobriety from drugs and alcohol. So coming up, I don't want to get too much into it. I mean, I've shared so much about this online, podcasts, everything.
Today is May 10th, 2024, and today marks 3 years of continuous sobriety for me, from drugs and alcohol, from anything that'll alter my state of consciousness. What I've learned over the past 3 years is a lot about myself, a lot about how I feel, a lot about how I process emotions, and it's been a very difficult journey. If I can be honest with you, it's the hardest journey that I've ever been on in my life. Digging up all that childhood trauma, digging up the death of my brother, and digging up all the insecurities, all the stress and anxiety. It's been a hard road, but the honest truth is, it's been very rewarding. Today, I don't...
But it's like, I had to work harder before, because I was oftentimes in a state of recovery, or I was thinking too much about what I would do after service was done, and I was always a little bit beat up and operating at like 50, 60%. So mentally these days, that fog is gone. I have a lot more clarity and self-awareness and self-love than I did before. So I'm able to execute at a higher level and show up better for myself and everyone else around me. So that's where I'm at mentally today.
Interesting, but I want to thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule, and I'm hoping we could do more of this. As I said, your cookbook is going to be my go-to book. I won't use in cookbook. The wife would think, and the wife is there behind the camera telling me, throwing this and this and that. But we're going to be using your cookbook, right? Mad Love. And we're going to be sharing that mad love with everyone else in Guyana and around the world. So I want to thank you for this opportunity, buddy, and looking forward to doing many more like this with you.
I'm honored, and thank you for the opportunity. And I can't wait to get with Critic in the kitchen and cook up a storm.
Coming soon, Chef Devan with Critic in the kitchen.